Hello everyone, welcome to another Don Dimension car review. Today I am driving a 2006 Pontiac Vibe Automatic. And this one has about 203,000 miles on it. And I gotta say, these Pontiac Vibes or Toyota Matrixes, they hold up really well. Even though this one has over 200,000 miles on it, it still runs great. There haven't been like any problems. The owner has maintained it pretty well. Everything done on schedule, but there hasn't really been any issues. So for starters, this isn't my first time driving the Vibe. It used to be my dad's car, so back when I was like 15, this is a car I learned on actually. So it's really good for, well, teenagers especially, but really anyone that wants a really easy to drive, good all-around commuter car. So you really notice the seating position. Even though it's not like a tall car, you're actually sitting up pretty high. And the hood just, it's kind of short, small engine, so the hood just shoots down and you can see the road. It's just right there in front of you. So it feels like you're like in a dune buggy or something. And it's really comfortable. The seat goes back far enough where, well, my dad's 6'3", he fit just fine. The back seats weren't terrible either growing up. And I'm about 6 feet, and I don't even have the seat all the way back, and I'm pretty comfortable. As far as the seats go, they're pretty soft. They actually have better bolstering than I expected. I think a little better than the Corolla I test drove, which, you know, it's almost the same car as this, engine-wise, but obviously this is a hatchback. But yeah, the bolstering is pretty good, and I do like the fabric on these. It's pretty tasteful. So it's actually a pretty cool looking car as far as daily driver hatchbacks go. And it doesn't come with power seats, but you know, the levers are pretty easy to figure out. You have the lever under the seat, which lets you go backwards and forwards. Well, as I drive here, I'm not gonna go on a planned review strategy like I normally do. I'm just gonna say things as I notice them. The visibility is pretty good in this car as well. I'd say above average. You can see out the back pretty well. You got the A pillars, very small, so that doesn't get in the way at all. B pillars are pretty small too, and they're placed kind of in line with your ear here, so when you look back to your blind spot, it's not in your way at all. C pillars are a little big, but there are relatively well placed rear windows that you can see out of in the trunk area. And on this bumpy section of the highway here, I feel like the suspension is actually pretty good. It's not as bumpy as sports cars that I've driven, so pretty average commuter car suspension. Soaks up the bumps well enough. I guess I'll get to the interior qualities now. I really do like this steering wheel. It's about average size. It's got nice 10 and 2 notches. 9 and 3 grip is actually really comfortable. That's where I prefer to hold it on this wheel. It's not in a weird spot like some steering wheels. It's right where it should be. It's a little, I guess it's a little hard. It's not soft. It is leather wrapped, but it's a solid wheel. I mean, some people probably like a softer steering wheel on luxury models like the Navigator I test drove. But yeah, it looks like the same as the Toyota Matrix, just got the Pontiac Vibe badge on there. And it's steering wheel is adjustable. I don't want to do that while I'm driving here. There seems to be an emergency crew up here. But it's really sharp interior. But, I mean, the steering wheel looks pretty nice. The gauges I really do like. They have that red, black, and white color scheme, which I really like. And they're compartmentalized, like separate cylinders for each gauge. Sometimes it's all just one big panel, but this is separate. Plus you got the, well, it's plastic, but you got the chrome colored trim on there. Very easy to read. And coming over to the radio, it's a functional radio. Nothing special. I think the sound quality is actually pretty decent. But what I like about the radio is it's not trying too hard to do anything. It's very functional. All the buttons are exactly where you think they should be. There's a 6-disc CD changer, which is a really nice feature. And no auxiliary, but you know, there's technology for that. You just have a FM transmitter. It's got power adjustable mirrors. It's got one of the simplest air conditioning climate controls that I've ever seen. It's basically just 3 circular controls. One is the temperature, and it's just on a spectrum. You know, red is warm, blue is cold, and then you got the fan speed and where you want it, along with the defrosters. You also got the 115 volt power outlet, and you can just turn that on with the button. And it's actually cool because it has the regular, like you'd find in a household, and then it's also got the car version. Sorry, I forgot what that's called. But yeah, just the interior looks nice overall. Like, it's a cool car, actually. I mean, take out, it's not the performance or anything, but just the look of it, even the outside, it just looks kind of cool. I'm sure, especially in the day, it was a hip car. But I like the contrast. You got the circular vents, and there's 4 of them on the front here. Got your window controls, very basic, exactly what you expect. You got what is nice, you got the button for the glass on the hatch. Some cars, the glass doesn't even open, but that's really nice because you can fill the trunk up, put all your stuff in there, close it, and then open the glass and put some more stuff in there. You got cruise control. What else we got here? I guess we can get to storage space. The center console is actually a generous amount of space in there, but he has a lot of stuff in there. You got a nice storage space under the shifter here, which is kind of nice to have that. And you got another spot in front of the cup holders where you can fit maybe a cell phone, maybe like an iPhone 4 back, something from that era. You also got 2 smallish cup holders. You know, they're adequate, but I've seen cup holders in a little bigger. And you got the glove box. It's a little bigger than average. You can fit everything you need to in there. Maps. It's got a lint roller. It's dog owner. And this one does have a sunroof option, tilt and slide. Got lights, sun visors, pull down away from you, which is the standard. But some cars, they actually pull towards you. It's kind of cool to see the different setups. Backseat space, I did mention, but it's actually about average for a car like this. But it's actually a small car. It's only 2,700 pounds, but it has a ton of space in the back, and it's really fuel efficient. And I'll report this towards the beginning, or maybe the end of my video, but it does have good crash test safety rating. So a safe car, you know, if you need a car for your teenager, this is something you should consider. It's about 34 miles to the gallon on the highway, around like 29 in the city. But you know, we've actually clocked it at more than that. We think we got like 36 on the highway before on road trips. But really, it's comfortable just to cruise around it. You don't really think about the speed. You just get into your destination. And I'm not really ashamed to be driving this car either. Like, it looks better than a Prius. It doesn't have the same connotation associated with it. But yeah, it's got a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder, just like the Matrix and the Corolla. And it performs pretty well. Like, it's not very powerful. It's got 124 horsepower. Let me check that. Sorry, it's got 126 horsepower at 6,000 RPMs. So I mean, it's not going to be exciting by any means, but you know, it's probably just enough horsepower to, you know, safely get you where you need to go. It'll take a while to accelerate to 60, like over 8 seconds. So I mean, the interior of this car looks pretty nice, but you know, it's about base model quality of building materials. Most of it's plastics and cloth, which it doesn't bother me, but it's not like, you know, upscale luxury model. That being said, the suspension is about average for a kind of car like this. And you know, the road noise, I would have to say it's about average as well. Like, as I'm driving on the road here, I can hear every bump, but it's not really bothering me. It's not loud in here, but it's definitely not quiet by any means. Yeah, so now, well, my ramp was closed, so I'm taking some back roads, I guess. But some more things I've been testing. The brakes in this car, I mean, they're a little bit soft, but they definitely do the trick. They're pretty confidence-inspiring. Like, I'm not afraid that they're not gonna stop the car. Yeah, they're actually pretty good. I mean, this is a light car at 2,700 pounds, so it's not too hard to stop either. It has disc brakes. And handling on these back roads, I really like the steering on this car. It's like the perfect car to learn on. It's really responsive. Feels like you're driving like a go-kart or something. It's almost got like a sporty element to it, even though it's not trying to be a sports car. So yeah, I noticed the steering on this vehicle is really responsive. It feels like you're driving like a go-kart. So I started with this car, and I drove a Taurus, like a 98 Taurus for a while. And that thing, way different. Like this, you know, it's really comfortable and relaxed environment. When you steer, like, you know, it decides to turn, you know, a few hours after you turn the wheel. No, but not very responsive, kind of sluggish. But then, so yeah, you compare this to like my 350Z or something. Obviously, it's not quite as responsive, but for a normal commuter car, you know, it is really a good car to drive. Very good feedback. Air conditioning and heat still work pretty well, and it's a small car, so it doesn't take too long to get to temperature. It's a black exterior color, so you know, in the summer it does get pretty hot in here, but thankfully it's cloth, which is you know, leather, like you touch it, it's just burning, but the cloth doesn't do that. Not as conductive. So take home points that you want to remember about this car. You know, it's going to get 35 miles to the gallon on the highway. You can fit your family in here relatively easily, especially kids. They'll fit in the back. It's comfortable, very useful, plenty of storage, and like I said about the hatchback, you can just have the glass part open and you can just stuff tons of stuff in there. Very reliable and safe. I mean, they had a couple problems, like with like a couple fuses blew or something, but No, that's just electrical components. Then you can check out video. I did video on oil change with my brother for this type of car, so you can see how to maintain it. And this one's actually, I think he's gonna put this one for sale. So if you want to buy it for a good deal, he'll hook you up. Another take-home point. You know, Pontiac, yeah, they're out of business now, but you know, this is really just a Toyota Matrix. So you get the Toyota Japanese reliability, which we all like, just in a different, slightly different shell. So, you know, if you really like Pontiac, this is a good car for you. And if you want this car, but you want it to be just a little faster, you can get a 2003 GT or the Matrix XRS, and those have like around 180 horsepower. And you know, in a 2,700 pound car, that will actually go a long way and be perfect for your daily commute. You'll be able to merge on the highway and whatnot, but you know, if 126 horsepower is enough for you, then there's no reason to not get this car. It's got a proven track record, really high ratings on all of the car websites. I really can't find anything to complain about, but I will do an acceleration test just to really see what it's got under the hood. When I'm just driving this car, I can really just relax. Like, I have my Civic Si and my 350Z. Those are both manuals. They're both sporty, so I'm always working. But in this thing, you're not sitting low. It's not hard to get out of. It's pretty quiet. It's not a thrill, but you just be really relaxed and at ease. I guess there's no handle on this side, but for the passenger, there's a handle to hang on to. So let's see how it does. Pedal to the floor. Okay. Gets the job done. Transmission's okay. Like, it doesn't, obviously it's not sporty by any means, so it's not gonna shift on a dime. So, you know, it's a little slow to shift, but you know, that's fine. As long as the transmission holds up, which it has for 200,000 miles, I don't think you can go wrong. So I'm just gonna do one more test for the body roll in a cul-de-sac. That really gives me a good feel of what it's like to go around in just a tight corner. So let's get a feel for it right here. Yeah, it's okay. You don't feel like you're gonna tip over, so it's got it where it counts, and that's what matters. And to recap, the only negatives would be it's not very fast at all, and not very exciting, but I can't really think of much else. And then, you know, it's obviously not like a really cool looking car. I mean, I think it's pretty stylish for what it is. So yeah, the only thing you're missing out on is basically just that performance, acceleration, horsepower. So if you're trying to merge on an on-ramp, you might struggle a little bit, but you know, a lot of cars are this slow, like, you know, normal Honda Civics and you know, a lot of commuter cars, so definitely slower than average. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review and found it relatively informative. With that, we'll see you next time.